If this week's heat didn't signal the start of summer for you, oh, this will. Take a look at this. The Mayflies are back. Take a look at this photo taken near Lake Erie. This was from one of my buddies that I know that live in that area. He sent it to me and said, look at this. It was by a gas station, but it was close near the water. We'll be talking a little bit about why that's so important in this story. They're coating cars and buildings and everything in between. If you are anywhere by the water, especially the east side and Lake St. Clair, you are definitely seeing them. So to give us some perspective on this fish fly invasion, we are joined by David Lowenstein. He is a consumer horticulture educator with Michigan State University. David, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Timing of mayfly season, where we see them the most, their behavior. Let's talk a little bit about that, because it seems like all of a sudden things are fine, and then all of a sudden they are here. So tell us a little bit about the timing and what this all means.
Yep, whether you call it a fish fly or a mayfly, as entomologists and a lot of people outside of Michigan call them, they're arriving right on schedule this year. We typically see them starting around second, third week of June in large numbers, and they may continue on until sometime in August. When the water temperature is about 68 degrees Fahrenheit, that's their cue to start emerging out of the water and enter their adult life stage and become a bit of a nuisance on land.
They really are. Okay, so talk to me about this life stage, because it doesn't last that long. What's the whole purpose here? Especially talk to me about the difference between the male and the female and how long they actually live. In some cases, we're talking minutes.
Correct. Yeah. People think that the mayfly is a really short-lived insect, and that is true for the adult life stage. Once they come out of the water, where they spend their immature life stage, they only live for anywhere from 1 to 2, 3 days would be generous, because they can't eat. They have one goal: to reproduce. But mayflies live for 1 to 2 years underwater, so they're actually not a very short-lived insect. We just don't see them for much of their lives, since much of their life is spent underwater, eating plant material and enjoying life in our Great Lakes.
So this obviously is a sign that if they're there and they're reproducing, it's a good thing, right? A good thing for our environment. It's a sign that our water's healthy?
Correct. Mayflies are one of several insect species that are considered indicator species. Seeing them and seeing them in high numbers, whether that's in our streams, inland lakes, or Great Lakes and Lake St. Clair, is a sign that our waters have high oxygen levels and they're doing well. Mayfly numbers in Lake Erie in particular have increased since the 1990s. So with less pollution, less agricultural runoff, we can have healthy populations of mayflies coming out of our waterways this time of year.
So talk to me a little about the odor. What that's from them, I hate to say, like dying and decaying? Is that where that comes from?
Correct. Yep. Thankfully, I don't live right along the water, so I don't have to smell them most of the time. And you only see mayflies if you're within about a mile, maybe a mile and a half of the shore. When they die, which they're going to die pretty quickly, it is pretty smelly. It smells sort of like fish carcasses almost. Nature may help a little bit to get rid of them. Birds and other wildlife may eat some of the mayflies, but when you have thousands of insects coming out in a quick time, there might not be enough of nature's helpers to do that, and you have to bring out the broom and do a bit of that cleaning and wash off that smell yourself.
In terms of locations, obviously we know it's a big deal around the Midwest and the Great Lakes. Are there other areas in the country that really see the influx like we see?
The Mississippi River in the upper Midwest is another place they get really big mayfly emergences. So parts of Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, they can get numbers of mayflies that rival what we see here in Michigan. And the mayflies are also present in other areas of the U.S. along the eastern coast, southeast. Just those numbers aren't as big when you don't have lakes as large as the Great Lakes and rivers as big as the Mississippi.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, but I want to come back and I want to talk to you about, I don't know if the word's prevention, but maybe some things we can do to maybe kind of keep them away from our homes, etc. So we're going to have that right after the break, much more on fish flies, mayflies, whatever you want to call them. 90 seconds when we come back. You are watching Local 4 Live. And And welcome back, everybody, to this Thursday morning edition of Local 4 Live. We are streaming this morning, and we are talking about the fish fly invasion with David Lowenstein. He's a consumer horticulture educator with Michigan State University. Now, when we were talking right before the break, we were talking a little about prevention. What can we do maybe around our homes, especially if you are living near water, to, I guess, limit the amount of fish flies that come near you or come near your property? What do you say, David?
The number one thing you can do if it's fish fly or mayfly season is turn off your lights at night. The direction that the mayflies enter land depends on light, depends on wind, and there's a lot of light at the shoreline. So if you don't want those mayflies flying too
Turn off the
close to your
lights.
home, turn off those lights, close those porches, but also be a bit thankful that our waterways are doing well
Yeah.
enough to have them. So if you live on or near a lake, this is just a part of Michigan summer. I'd prefer mayflies over 95-degree weather, but
Yeah.
this is Michigan. We take what we get.
I was reading that there's like over 600 species of mayflies, and there's 100 different ones here in Michigan. Is that right, those numbers?
Correct. There are about 170-ish species of mayflies in Michigan. The one that we see along Lake St. Clair, the most common one is in the genus Hexagenia, but there are other ones. They all have similar lifestyles, spending much of their lives in the water and only being on land for 24 to 48 hours to reproduce. The female lays eggs just before she dies. Those eggs are laid on the water, and life cycle repeats itself the next season.
Have you taken a look at the numbers in terms of, I mean, I don't know how you necessarily count fish flies or mayflies, but how are we in comparison to years past in terms of our healthy environment, pollution, et cetera?
I would say that this is about an average year. We don't have a metric like you mentioned for mayfly numbers. That metric is usually how much notice people are posting online or how much press there is for mayfly numbers. I can tell you we are up since the 1990s. Some years are a bit higher than others. We're not totally sure why that is. Again, when much of the insect spends its life below water, it becomes a bit more challenging to study it. But I would say the numbers have been stable the last few years.
And you did mention in terms of prevention and light, is there a different type of light bulb you could use or a different kind of light? Let's just say you do need light around your area, but you are trying to avoid them. Does that make sense?
A lower wattage light might help, but that's
Light's
not going to
light.
completely deter them. Exactly. If there's light, the insects will find it.
Yes, that is the case. We do. I mean, I love seeing the photos. It is interesting, that's for sure. And I do love taking the time to speak with you this morning, David. So I really appreciate you sharing some interesting facts about our mayfly invasion and what we can do about that. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, have a good day.